Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It is Tier List Tuesday, so today we are going to be doing another tier list. This time instead of Zelda, we're going to be doing Final Fantasy. I've played every single Final Fantasy mainline game. I've beat every single Final Fantasy mainline game, I think. Let me check. Yes, I have. Okay. So this time we will be putting them all on the tier list. There's no F tier, because I don't think any of these games were terrible, except one is almost there, but not it's still not bad. I can still play it. So we're gonna start off in order. We're gonna start off with number one. I think number one is good to go. I'm gonna put one in B tier. I really like the first game a lot. It's really good. It's like a basic, but it's still good. And like there's just so much in this game that's been carried over in like all the Final Fantasy games. It's pretty good. It's got good music. The battle system's fun. It's like a basic Final Fantasy game. There's nothing that like stands out too much. You know what? It's gonna be low B. It's B, but it's low B. Cause I mean, it's still got some good stuff to it, but there's nothing that's like super crazy about it. But I think I'm gonna put it in B. This might change. All right, next up we got Final Fantasy II. It's going in D tier. I do not like this game. This is like the only game I would consider would be close to F tier. The leveling up system in this game, like the way you level up, is just the worst thing I think I've experienced in video games. Like, I hate how like, oh, to raise your health you must get hit a lot or something. I don't even really know exactly how it works. It just doesn't make sense. And make sure you use your attack to raise your strength and stuff like that. But then another thing I don't like is all the keywords and stuff. It's just like they did a whole bunch of stuff I guess to try to be different, and none of it worked that well. So that's why I'm gonna put it at number 2. So yeah, it's gonna stay at number 2, or a D tier. Okay, so next up we got 3. I actually really like 3. This one's good. This is a high B for me, because this is the first one that introduced the job systems, which is a system that has been used in almost every Final Fantasy game after that, pretty much. Well, kind of, in a sense. I love how like you start off and like you're in like you see like the world, but it gets like so much bigger later on, and like the battle system. And I think this was the first one too that wasn't just turn-based. It had ATB. I might be wrong on that. I'm not sure. But it was like a first, like it had a bunch of firsts for the series, and it's just so fun to go back and play. I like the characters. It was the first time they actually had like characters that weren't like, well, I guess 2 did too, but that's 2. But like the characters in this one were pretty good. They aren't nothing too crazy. But yeah, another basic Final Fantasy game. It was just a little bit better than the first one, with like some extra stuff. So I'm gonna put that in high B. It's pretty good. Next up, we got Final Fantasy IV. I'm gonna put this one. This one's in a this one's almost an S, but I think I'm gonna put it in an A tier. I really like Final Fantasy IV. Every single character in this game is so good. I love Cecil. I think that's how you say his name. Cecil? I'm not entirely sure how you say his name. I think it's Cecil. Kain is awesome. Rydia is like the best summoner, I think, in the series. Rosa's pretty cool too. Edge, the best ninja also. Like, and then like what are they called? The fiends or whatever, the 4 fiends. I never remember what they're called. Like Rubicante. I don't remember their names either. But this also had a really good battle system, and I think this was the first one that had 3 had summons, but I think the summons were way better in 4. And like just the world in 4, just in general, was so much better. Like you go to the moon, like that's so cool. So yeah, I'm gonna put 4 at A. I really like 4 a lot. Music in this one is like top tier music as well. I really like the music in this one. Next up, we got 5. I'm gonna put 5 in B tier as well. 5, the characters and everything were good. It's like, but it almost felt like a backstep, or like they backstepped from 4, backpedaled, I guess. I think it's better than 3. Whoops. I think it's better than 3, but I didn't enjoy it as much as 4. I do like how they brought the jobs back, and I think they added a bunch of new ones in 5 as well. That was really cool. The job system in 5 was really cool. It's like this one, 5 is essentially a better 3 for me, but it's just the story isn't too crazy. I didn't enjoy it as much as 4, which is why I'm gonna put it in B. So yeah, I think B's good for it. 6 is also, I think 6 is better than 5, but I don't think it's on the level of 4. So I'm gonna put it in B tier as well. I know a lot of people like 6. I have trouble replaying this game sometimes. I still think it's really good. The story is definitely better than 5, but I think that's still B tier. They took away the job system again, So like, it's weird. Like, so jobs was in 3, it wasn't in 4, it was in 5, and then it wasn't in 6. But essentially, like, every character is like their own job. So I guess that's kind of how it worked in that game. But the combat was still the same. It was really fun. It's just, I think the music also in this one wasn't nothing memorable for me either. I think that's another reason why I didn't really resonate with it as much. But I think high B is good. So we're gonna keep it in B. Next up, 7. Now I actually did not like 7 until the remake came out, which I think I'm gonna put 7. I'm gonna put 7 in medium B. I think I prefer 5 over the original 7. I prefer 6 over the original 7. Yeah, I couldn't get into the original 7 that much. I think it's just the way it looked. The combat, the material was cool, but it's not my favorite system. It was the first time like that they added more. It almost felt to like the RPG aspect of the game. It was like the first like big system they added. I don't know. 7 just, the characters are really cool, but I feel like I don't know. It just, this game didn't resonate with me as much. It's just, I don't really know what it is about this. It wasn't until Remake came out that I really liked 7. So I'm gonna put 7 in B tier. It's still not a bad game. It's still good. Next up we have 8. Now 8, I'm gonna put this in a low A. I do like 8 a lot. I really like 8. I love the GFs and the junction system. I actually hated it at first until I figured out how it works, and you can just get so broken in this game, and it's so fun. Another thing I really like about this game is its world. I really like the world in this game, and the characters are pretty cool too. The only downfall about this game is the story. The story completely fell off after disc 1, I think. And disc 2 was okay, but then the story, like, after disc 2, like, the story I was just lost. It kind of was all over the place for me. I didn't like it as much. But like the combat in this game and the way you can pull when you use attack with Squall and you hit the trigger and like it does extra damage, like you're shooting the gun blade. It's so cool. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I prefer this game over 6. I still think I prefer this game over 6. I think I'm gonna keep it an A tier. It does have its flaws. I wish this is like a little nitpicky thing, but I wish the menu was more colorful. It's just like that dull gray. Like everything just looks gray, which kind of sucks. But like I love the combat, I love the junctioning and GF system, and like the disc 1 was like perfect. Disc 1 is like, it started off so good. If it would have kept that pace, it would have been an S tier game for me. But it kind of fell off halfway through, so that's why it's an A tier. Next up, we got my favorite. We have 9. Well, it's one of my favorites. 9's going in S tier. 9 is perfect all the way through, I think. I love all the characters except, I was gonna say except Demariant. He's cool. He's just kind of there though. But the way you get stats, like the way you like have to use certain equipment and to unlock like abilities and like stat increases and stuff, it just like, it felt like classic Final Fantasy, but like it was perfected. And like I love Vivi, Steiner, Zidane, and Dagger are like the best 4 characters. Like they're like your standard thief, knight, black mage, and white mage, but it's just like so good. The story is so good, the characters are so good, the music is incredible, and it's just one I can go through multiple times and never get tired of playing. I just love this game so much. That's why that's S tier for me. I love 9 a lot. I think the PS1 games just got better as they went on, honestly. Next we have 10, and I know a lot of people like this game. However, I'm not as big of a fan of it. I'm gonna put it under 6, in between 5 and 6. I like the world in this game a lot, but my biggest complaint about this game is I don't like the sphere grid that much. It would be okay if there wasn't so much lock stuff and like backtracking, and it just felt like you wasted so many levels and levels took forever to get in this game anyways. Like you could get, I know once I got to the Calm Lands, I just felt so underleveled and everything destroyed me. Even using like strats on bosses and stuff, I just felt like I was getting destroyed like throughout the whole game. So it might be because I'm bad. But another thing too, I'm not a big fan of the characters in this game. Like Titus is okay, Yuna's alright, I like Yuna. But Kamari, he's an okay character. Orin's cool, but then Lulu and Walker, it's just not a strong like cast as all the other games have. at least for me. But yeah, I think that's why I'm gonna put it a B. It's still a good game. It's just it's not one I prefer. So it's gonna be a B for that. Next up, we have 11, which is an MMO. I'm not even gonna rank the MMOs. I never played the MMOs. I know 14. I've heard really good stuff from 14, but it's just I don't have friends to play it with. So I mean, I'll leave it here for now. Next up, we got 12. 12 is a low A. I think 12 is a low A. I think I'm gonna put 8. No, I think it's better than 8, but below 4. I really like 12 like a lot, but it's just. I feel like towards the end it kind of drags on for a little bit. I think it's the longest mainline Final Fantasy game, or at least it took me the longest out of all of them to get through. I love everything about this game. The gambit's kind of weird, but I never really used it anyways. But like the characters, the stories, and people say this is like the Star Wars of Final Fantasy, and I can see that. It's really cool. I like the bosses in this game a lot too. Like this game has very unique bosses, and it feels like there's like a lot of them. I know most Final Fantasy games have like a lot of bosses, but this one it felt like there was like a boss like every hour you play it, and like the hunts were really cool. The world itself was really cool. I remember everything felt like a desert for so long in the game, and then when you get to like, oh, what's that place called? The jungly area, and then you get out of that, and you're like in this forest. There's just so much variety in like the landscapes, and then I think later on you go like there's like an over the ocean, you go to like this island. It's where you see, so I can't really remember. I just know like there's like a lot of variety in like locations, and I really like that. I really like variety in locations where it's not just like all desert or something, and it really like opens up towards the end. So it's really good. I really like Final Fantasy 10 or 12. Also the combat's really good. It's like ATB, but you get to move around in battle, and it doesn't actually go into battle, so that's really good, and it saves a lot of time. And the Zodiac job system made this so much better. Like everybody felt so different, like when you get their jobs and stuff. Because I know in the original, I think everybody's sphere grid was the same, which kind of just made everybody feel the same. But the Zodiac job system it just made this game like so much better. So I'm gonna keep this an A. I think that's good for it. All right, next up we got 13. People are gonna hate me for this. I love 13. I love 13 just as much as 9. I'm not sure which one I like more, if it's 9 or 13, but I really like 13. Just because I feel like the pace of it. It's just like, it just keeps going, like stuff keeps happening. And like, I love, the Crystarium is a better sphere grid, because like, you don't have to like use locks and all this stuff and like backtrack. I feel like you're constantly getting rewarded for stuff. When you get like, I think it's Crystarium points, is that what it's called? I've played through this game so many times, I've platinumed it. I just love this game. I love this game so much. I know the characters can be a lot of people kind of don't like the characters. I love the characters. Lightning's cool. Everybody thinks, well, at least I think this. I'm not completely sure, but I've heard people say like Hope's kind of annoying. I like Hope a lot. He really grows as a character. Like he has like the best growth in the series probably. He starts off super annoying, and he actually becomes like really decent near the end, and not as he like grows up pretty much. And Snow's all right. Fang and Vanille are really cool. And Saz, he's also really cool. I just like the characters. I like the world. The battle system is probably my favorite. You don't realize, I didn't realize this until like I was going to get the platinum on like my 3rd playthrough. Like how much like the battle system, like how in depth it goes. Like I didn't know that if you have 3 sentinels, it gives you like so much a damage reduction. So like, oh, when you're fighting an Adamantoise, if he's about to insta kill your party, switch to whatever the 3 sentinels paradigm is, and you'll do like way less damage, and it makes it so much easier to face some of the later enemies, especially some of the hunts. I don't think they're called hunts. They might be called something different in this game. The Sea Stone missions, those are like super hard, but like when you learn how the paradigms and stuff work, it can be so fun. I just really like 13. People don't give it enough credit, but it's really good. So I'm gonna put it in S tier. Next up, we have 15. Putting 15 in D tier. I was very, very disappointed in this game, honestly. I know some people like it. It's like the best-selling Final Fantasy, but it could have been so much better. And another problem I had with this game is like, I'm not a fan of open world games that much. I prefer linear games, as you can see right here. And really, honestly, most Final Fantasy games are pretty linear, except for like the open world that is just there for battles and then to get from point A to point B, but it's still they're linear games. But like the open world, I just don't like open world games as much, and it felt almost empty in Final Fantasy 15. And the story was super short, and like the time skip near the end just felt out of place. I don't know. I wish like the DLCs would have been in the main game. I know it's kind of a weird complaint, but I feel like I never played the DLCs, but I've watched people play them, and they're just so much. They look so good, but I wish they were in the main game. It's like I've already beat it. I got the platinum, but it's just like it was so underwhelming. Another complaint I have too is the Leviathan fight. It looked so cool in the trailers, and then they completely changed it when the full game came out. I might have to go back and give this game another try. Maybe it's updated and they've added some cool stuff. But and like the variety of the party variety, like the 4 dudes, it was cool, but it could have been more. I guess I don't know. I feel like this game has a very specific fan base for it, and I'm just not. That's just not for me. Okay, next up we got 16. 16 is. I think I'm gonna put 16 in A tier. I think I might like it a little bit more than 8. The only problem I have with this game is it's not too memorable. It doesn't have as many memorable spots, but the spots that you do remember are crazy. All the summon fights in this game are the best boss fights I've probably played in video game history. Like, they're so good. The battle system in general, which I didn't say about 15, that's another thing I didn't like about 15 was the battle system. It was like kind of all over the place. But 16's battle system, dude, it felt so fun. It felt not like a Souls game. It almost kind of felt like nearish, kind of, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. It was fun. It was like action, and at first it was like, oh man, action. Final Fantasy 15 did that. It wasn't so well, but I think it works for 16. Another thing I don't like about 16 though is you don't have party members that are playable, but I think that's kind of okay because you get the guest party members and like the banter between them. It's almost feels like you have a party, like with Sid, and then you have the girl, I cannot remember her name, and then he's always talking to Torgal and stuff. It's like, I mean, essentially you have a party, but you just can't play with them. And like in most games, like 12, you only play as one character anyways, and everybody else does their own thing. So it's not much different from that. But, and like the game itself just looks so good. And the music in this game, oh my gosh, the music in this game is so good too. Ahsoken, I know that's like a big reason why people like 14 as well, is because of the music, but he does so, he is like an amazing composer. That's why I really like 16's music. I like him a lot. Yeah, 16's really good. The story in 16's pretty good too. Another thing I'm not as big a fan of is the villain. The villain kind of seemed strange. He was a little weird. He was still cool though. But yeah, I'm gonna put that in A tier. That looks good. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm gonna put that in a low A. Or a high A, I mean. This is for me at least, this is my favorite version of Final Fantasy VII to play. The characters they're so much better, it seems like, in this game than they were in the original. And I think that's because of voice acting. I think voice acting kind of helps it a little bit. But dude, the voice acting's so good. The combat in this game is probably my favorite combat in video games, just in general. It's so good. It's like an action game, but you have the ATB from like old games. And like, if they could make a new Final Fantasy game and use this combat system, it would be so good. I really hope they do that in the future, actually. I know another thing, well, I'm also going to mix Remake and Rebirth, so this, and then when the next one comes out, it'll probably be up here as well. I'm just going to kind of combine them as one. But Remake, like, even the locations, like, it was hard to tell, like, on a PS1, kind of what they wanted the locations to look like at sometimes, like, especially the Sector 7 slums. But when you see them, like, in this game, it's like, oh, this looks cool. I can see what they were going for now, and I really like that. I like that. And then in Rebirth, like, just, like, all the locations, Cosmo Canyon, the saucer. Yeah, I gotta put it in S tier, actually. I changed my mind. If it's just Remake, it'd be A tier, but since we're including Rebirth as well, I'm gonna put it in S tier. Cause, like, switching between party members and, like, just the world itself in Rebirth, it's just so much. Sometimes it might be too much, honestly. I will say, once you get towards the end of Rebirth, all the little side quests on your map kind of get repetitive. But you don't really have to do that, so it's not, I mean, you can just ignore it. But like, the story is so good. And and a lot of people are like kind of like, oh, the ending, it doesn't make sense, but I think that's like the fun of it. So like you got all these theories and people get to talk to people about like, oh, what do they think's gonna happen? So it's kind of cool. So I think I'm gonna keep this an S. Music is also really good. This has the most variety in music probably. So S tier for that one. I think my list is pretty good. I think I like this. I think I like this. There's a lot of good Final Fantasy games. They're all really good. None of them are C tier. These two, yeah. But these all, you can, any of them, if you never played a Final Fantasy game, you could start with any of these and you'd probably be hooked. But yeah, that's my tier list. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, leave a like. Let me know down in the comments what your tier list would look like. I'm kind of curious to see how different they are from mine. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next tier list, or if you want to watch some of the other videos I do on this channel, I do like playthroughs and stuff. Subscribe to keep up, and I'll see you guys later.